Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just biding a little time. As we have people come in, please say hello that you can hear me. Haven't had a hello from anyone yet. Hopefully it's going out to the right place. There's a hello. All right. Hi, Judy. Thank you so much for that. Great to have everyone in. Sorry, it was a little lonely there for the moment. I sometimes am afraid I'm broadcasting out to the wrong people, because we do things for Ukulele Corner, and we do things for Syncopated City, the dance school, and so there's all sorts of places that this stream sometimes goes out to, and I'm a little bit cautious of sending it out to the wrong place. So great to have you all. Thank you for coming in. Matthew, I saw your great duet with Roger today. Fantastic, sounding really good. The duets have been going very, very well at CGC over the last month. That's really down to Dave and Nikki, who are running that duet member challenge. We thought it might be an odd challenge to be running during this time of separation, but actually I think turned out very, very well, bringing people together and working on projects and forging friendships. So really a wonderful opportunity to make something out of a challenging situation. Someone asked from Facebook if I can entertain their kids by playing any Disney tunes. I don't. I've always been so bad at playing songs. I don't know any Disney tunes. I'm sorry. So that one of the fun things I've been doing today, I was inspired by the Duets member challenge that's been running this month, and Scott Brandenburg and Chris Wilhite played a duet that I wrote for the upcoming release of the book. And I was so thrilled to hear that piece played, because I'd only played through it myself. Each part, I actually hadn't heard it played, except on the playback from Sibelius on the computer. And it was such a joy to hear the music played. I don't think I've composed anything really since I was a teenager, save for maybe some things for the website. And made me so happy, and I've actually been doing a lot of composition. So I wrote another duet today. I've been very excited to keep going on that. It's been a lovely experience. It feels like a little bit of a move forward as a musician, because as we all experience, we go through ebbs and flows and changes and transformations over time. I really was gung-ho about performing and concertizing, and even at one point competitions, and then I moved into teaching with CGC over the last 10 years, and I really like the idea of writing some music. I mean, I did some writing with Cathedral Parkway, my bluegrass band, but anyway, so I'm grateful especially for Chris and Scott for playing that piece, and it's inspired me to do some more writing. So hello everyone. Hi Charlotte, Michelangelo from Cairo, Shannon from Newfoundland, Jenny from the UK, great to have you, Kenneth, Dave, Gary, Mr. Gary Lee, luthier extraordinaire. Gary, we're going to have you on this show, I feel, if you'd be up for maybe giving us a tour around your studio. Scott, Doug, greetings from Namibia. Fantastic. Thank you for tuning in. And we are going to be talking today with the one and only Nicoletta Todesco. And I was just, as we did a bit of a test call moments ago to check our sound and everything, we kind of realized it's Nikki's 1 year anniversary, more or less. I don't know the exact date, but it's kind of the 1 year anniversary of her joining the team at CGC, and I'm sure many of you would agree. She's been a fantastic addition to our CGC family. I received an email just the other day by someone who was considering becoming a member of the site, but actually thought it may be a little too corporate. And in his defense, he sort of qualified that it maybe was to do with some of the emails that were coming out. Some of them are automated. And obviously many of them are personal, written by Dave, Nikki, and myself. But I did have to write back to say, really, it's, we're very not corporate. I think it's me in an apartment in New York. It's Dave in his place in North Carolina, and it's Nikki in her apartment in New York City as well. And then also James and Sonia. Sonia's over in Madrid. James is in Long Island. So it's sort of, I really think of it like a family. We have members that make a big impact and be very giving and caring, and then a whole community of players around the world who really make it feel like a family. So it's nothing against this gentleman who's perceived it as corporate, although it's good for me to know that. It might be perceived that way sometimes. But I really feel that CGC is very much a family. It's a very small operation, and kind of happy to keep it that way. Spiller, great to have you with us. Jack from Scotland. Scotland is such a beautiful country. I was fortunate to travel there with Evita. We went up to the northeast. I don't remember the name of the area. It may be Speyside. But I remember the distilleries that were up there. It's up where Balvenie is. And also Edinburgh, a fantastic city, Glasgow. Yeah, fantastic. Great to have you all the way from Scotland. Oh, yes, that's right. Philip from Bruges in Belgium. Very close friends of mine who I haven't seen in the longest time are from Bruges. Beautiful, beautiful city. All right, well, I gasbagged for the first 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you, everyone, for saying hello, making it feel alive. I gasbagged for the first little while just to make sure everyone can get in. Seems like everyone's here. So I'm going to don my headphones so that I can, left and right, that's right. So I can, we're actually going to record this for the podcast. So let's give Nikki a call. Says it's ringing.
Hello.
Hello.
You hear me? You see me?
That says it's ringing.
That's great.
There you are.
It's not blurring behind me, so you can see the guitars.
No, it's a fantastic shot. Yeah, I can see
Great.
the cello case and the guitar. Oh, what is behind you there? The electrics? Show us the guitars briefly.
Okay, just the first one is mine. It's the electric guitar, Jack B's, and built a few years ago. Actually, is one of his newest guitar, but it was perfect for me. It was when he showed me. It was like it has to be mine. And the other one is acoustic guitar, mandolin, and banjo. Those are Liz's, my roommate. She's a fantastic guitarist.
Oh, that's right.
And she has also been performing in Broadway this year.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, the famous line from Fred Hand when I interviewed him once was saying, when someone asks you, do you play banjo or any given instrument, insert instrument, you say yes. and when you play on Broadway, I think you have to play all these different instruments.
Yes,
I feel too formal, Nikki. I talk to you all the time. Why am I? It's not. It's Nikki. Everyone's saying hello in the excuse me, in the chat.
Hi everyone. I'm so happy you're all here. I don't know, like we've met in person. Most of you have met, or we just chat over with emails, or we had workshops together, member challenges. So you probably all know me somehow. So hi to everybody, and thank you for tuning in.
Well, Roger's in there saying hi, and Kirk is saying hi, and yeah, great. Well, thank you, Mark, for telling me that the volume's a bit loud. I've adjusted some magical things. Now, Nikki, have you pressed record on your audio recording there?
Yes.
Fantastic. So yes, just for everyone's to know, we're actually recording for the podcast, so we're going to record our audio separately. So there will be, I'm sure there'll be some questions coming up along the way for those watching, and you're very welcome to ask them. We might leave them for the end, and we'll try and have our podcast interview here in the middle. But yeah, so please feel free to ask some questions, and we'll save them towards the end. So, Nikki,
Yeah.
where should we start? I want to start with how we met, and then I would love to hear about some stories from Italy, actually, from your background in life. But the first time I remember meeting you was in a class where I came up. Ben invited me up to talk about some educational material.
Yes, it was a seminar. You were the guest star of the seminar, and we heard about you, like Ben has talked about you as one of former students and so successful in your business. But he wanted you to talk to us about life outside Yale. You know, we are going to graduate, and you have to start thinking about what you're gonna do once you're out of the big bubble, safe bubble of school. That's kind of the fear that everybody has. You're almost done and you realize, what am I going to do after that? And he wanted you to talk us about your educational projects, your life after Yale.
And I spent a lot of time talking about teaching in that. And one thing that struck me in that is that you were very engaged, and you also talked about a lot of experience that you had in the past with teaching, particularly, I think, with children in Italy. Was that correct?
Yes, I've taught a lot of children. Sometimes I think about it because I start, like, every life changes all the time, you know? And when you change chapter, the last chapter feels a while ago, another life sometimes. But then you stop and realize, oh my God, that happened actually a few years ago, 2 years ago, or yes, I think I've been teaching like the first time I started teaching was not even legal age. I shouldn't say that. I started like just giving a few lessons, you know, like to have some money that you need. And what do you know? You know guitar, so let's teach guitar. Then it became more and more of a fixed job. So I think I've been teaching now for 14 years or 15 years, something like that. And you realize how many people pass through, and you feel, of course, you're constantly changing as a teacher, but so many people came to work with you, even for just a tiny bit, and most of them were children. A lot of children. and so I had to learn a lot about kids' experience and kids' learning. That's for sure.
Okay, so let's now go back, way back, even before teaching the kids. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Italy, so everybody that does not know that, that's why I have a strange accent, and sometimes I do grammar mistakes. But no, so I'm from Italy, the northeast of Italy. I'm from the bottom of the Alps.
Near Venice.
Yes, the region of Venice is more or less 1 hour far from Venice. Nice. Venice is the capital of my region.
And when did you start music in your life? Where did that come into play?
Well, it's kind of a nice story. I was a curious kid. Okay, I'm still like one of those restless people that always have to do something. But I remember I'm coming from a very small town. In a very small town, very nice, but where there were not many things to do, you know. Yes, I was doing a little bit of dancing, but not in my town. I had to go out of the town. And I remember a flyer that came to school, and they were opening a music school. I was 9 going to 10, something like that, a music school. And I went home and I said, I want to do it. Didn't even know what it was. And my parents looked at it, and it was just guitar or piano. And they said, we have a guitar, we cannot buy a piano. So if you want to do it, you have to play guitar. That's how it started.
It's funny how those small little moments, whether you have an instrument or one's available, can actually make a giant fork in your life. So if the neighbors had a piano, or you had a piano in the household, maybe maybe we wouldn't have the pleasure of your company.
Yeah. No, yes, that is true. But then little by little, it was like falling in love a bit. You know, like you just start as something you like, you do as another activity. You don't even study much. You're a kid. You just go and enjoy it. But then it became more serious until I decided, well, I might kind of want to go to the conservatory.
So how do the conservatories work a little differently in Europe, as I understand, than in some other countries? So what's that look like when you enter a conservatory in Italy?
Okay, well now it's different because there was a massive change back like between 2008 and 2009. It was like the most confusing time for a conservatory because they tried to change it as a normal university, you know? So you have to finish high school and you start 3 years plus 2 masters after those years in music and at the conservatory. But they couldn't do that change so quickly. So when I was in the conservatory, I was with the old kind of system that, and they lived together for many years. It was so confusing. But so the old system was like every instrument has a different journey from the beginning to the end, different years. So guitar was 10 years. You enter and you have to do exams every year to stay. To just remain, and in the middle you will also have theory exams, and that was like a little bit of an I don't want to talk bad about that, say it's something bad. It was a nice journey anyway, but it was a little bit on a conservative side. It was like old school kind of yes, old school, and it was a lot of exams and very difficult where you have to study a bunch. And if you don't pass it, like people crying because they didn't pass it, or people crying to prepare them. Like the theory and solfege exam was a big one. The harmony exam was like 8 hours closed in a room to write a Bach chorale, something like that. And then you have 3 steps: 5th year, 8th year, and then the diploma. And for that, you have requirements. So prepare those studies, 10 study of sword, and then they pick up 2 and you play 2. And then prepare that, and etc. So every step had big requirements. And that's kind of different here. It's a different system, even though now they have adjusted it. And it looks more like a university, credits, exams, smaller exams, but more of them. So
And
changed.
you actually went on, so there was a 10-year span, and then you actually did another degree. You're collecting degrees. You have many degrees.
Yes. Sometimes, well, I actually like to say that I'm a master collector. I cannot do anything else but collecting masters. So because I did the conservatory, the old school conservatory, I arrived to my diploma, and then I was like, what do I do now? And then it was the time they changed the conservatory and they decided to have masters. And at that point I said, I might just do a master, right? I didn't even know at that time that my degree was already counting as a master outside Italy. But I didn't know it was not. And I said, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to Bologna and make a master in guitar. And then all of a sudden I did another master in musicology, and then I came to Yale and I did another master. So it's weird, but it's just, I think it's not for the degree. I didn't mean to get more degrees. It was like just I wanted to learn more.
Right.
I didn't feel like I was done.
Now, I just realized that when we plotted out some of these YouTube videos, we didn't. So when I said I would love to share some work that you did with your quintet, I meant the quintet from Bologna.
Yeah.
So there's some videos on YouTube, isn't that right?
Yes, and there are some videos. I asked the girls if we could put out something, and nobody answered me back. It's time zone, you know. So I was like asking the girls. Actually, yes, there is a YouTube channel
What's the group called?
Collettiva Concorde. COLL. Collective, like collective, but collettiva.
Let me see.
Concorde, like Concord, but it's not nothing about the plane.
Hang on, we're coming up. Colectiva Concord. So can you?
Yes, COLL
Mhm.
ETTIVA, and
Oh,
Concorde is like Concord.
oh, I found it.
And
I found it. Okay, so
there's many videos where I don't appear because I was traveling everywhere, so I could be another person because there's another guitarist that is actually working with them when I'm not working.
what about
When I'm,
Alguna Calle Gris of Pujol?
yeah, I was there,
You
but
were?
it's beautiful. I played that piece live, but in that recording, I'm not there. But you can play that. I would love to share that. Why
Okay.
don't you play that? And because I played that piece, it's just that specific concert. I wasn't there. I was in Mexico, I believe.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna share. I'm gonna
Yeah,
share
please
the
share it
screen.
because it's a beautiful piece.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Well, that was very beautiful.
Yeah,
I will have to. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna. Can I put in the link? Well, maybe spell it out one more time for those people listening, so they can. Um,
Collettiva, COLLETTIVA. Concorde, it's actually spelled like Concorde, the plane, but
right.
doesn't mean like. And that's not what it means. But just for clarity for people to understand like the spelling. Actually, I have to repeat all those double letters because in Italian we have double letters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So difficult to understand where they are. Anyway, we're not doing a talk on Italian, so let's go back to guitar.
But so that's a group that you play with, and I remember meeting. Is it Laura at your wedding? Was it
Lara,
Lara? Sorry,
yeah,
at your wedding.
Lara,
Well, the whole group
and
was there actually.
hmm?
There were several members of the group was there, right?
Yes, and because we are still close, and whenever I go to Italy, we try to do concerts together. We try to find a way to collaborate. We're still always like kind of collaborating. I also wrote some arrangements. Maybe in the future we'll have time or the possibilities to play those. But because it's not just a group I play with, it's just a big friendship. We met together in Bologna. We started working together, and we had the same idea that we wanted to share with our music. So we actually put a lot of effort and time, and we've done so many cool concerts. I feel like the last time I played with them was 2018 in the summer. We did a small tour. It was really nice.
Nice. Well, I feel like I that was beautiful and it was great to hear your group, but I really want to feature a video with you playing in it. So maybe we'll skip ahead now. This is the video of you performing at Yale. Can you give us a bit of information about this quintet?
Yes, that was actually the last concert for me at Yale. It was so emotional. And I remember fighting that semester with not fighting now because I had the permission. But you know, every semester you decide which chamber group you want to work with. And I was working with a double bass player, and I didn't want. I wanted to still continue with her, but I asked as a present to Ben and the chamber music teacher, could I have a string quartet and play with a string quartet? Is kind of my dream. I liked a lot chamber music, but really I wanted to feel that power of playing with a string quartet, because it's a kind of a unique opportunity. And I got the possibility, and it gave me a wonderful string quartet. It was like fantastic work, and I love to work with them. It was so inspiring, and I learned so much, because I will just be brief, but you know, when you're working with another instrument that is not a guitar quintet, it's something, okay, we know the instrument, we will try to blend, we work a lot on sound, but when we're working with other instruments, you're not just going to work on sounds, you have to work on breathings, on articulations, on so many things. They play their instruments so differently from a guitar, and you have to blend together with them. And so I learned so much, even like just how the quartet communicate with each other. Like it's so powerful. So I actually played a beautiful piece by Javier Farias. Javier Farias, Chilean composer, and he lives in the US. And he's a good friend with Ben, and he wrote amazing pieces for solo guitar, but also chamber music and this beautiful quintet.
Great. All right. Well, we'll listen to a few minutes. We'll give it. It's 20 minutes long, so we're not going to listen to the whole thing. But
No.
I'll give this a bit of a longer listen so people can get into it. And Nikki, I might ask if you can mute your Skype audio because it sounds over there.
I'm really sorry. I will
No
do
problem.
that. If you shared the screen before, I didn't see. But I don't see the sharing screen. I
Oh,
just
okay. You
understand.
just see me staring
Um,
at. Okay. All right. Here we go. Move.
I was there muted on. Yeah, perfect.
All right.
And so there you go.
Well, I'm always I feel bad. I always feel bad about stopping these. But that's fantastic. It's a really
That's
wonderful recording, wonderful piece, wonderful playing.
No, it's a beautiful piece. I was so in love with that. Like, I think all three movements are fantastic. And I know it's a long piece. It's impossible. We cannot listen to it. But it's powerful and it's written powerful. But what I really liked is how, like this first piece, for example, is the Andean suite. So about like the Andean mountains, you know? And so that's where the inspiration comes from. And it comes from sounds and dances in that area of the world. Like, of course, Javier Farias is Chilean, but this first piece, for example, imitates the charango sound. If you listen to it, and it's so powerful how he uses it, and he blends like. So I think it was really nice to work on that piece.
And is that the imitation of the charango is partly why you have the capo on the 10th fret there?
Yes, just on the first piece though.
Okay.
Then the second one is a huayno, so it's more of a countryside dance. And the third one is diablada, so it's like just on fire, just on fire. And the diablada means of the evil, of the devil.
Oh, very
So
nice.
it's a very kind of fire dance. That's of course like for the ending, but yes, the first piece imitates the charango sound.
That was fantastic. And a lot of people are congratulating you on a wonderful performance. But I do have to say there was about 5 or 6 comments on your shoes.
The red shoes.
Yeah.
I love to wear colorful shoes. It's one of my favorite things. But I have to say that people fall in love all the time with the red shoes. I bought them back in Italy a few years ago. I actually bought them when I started working in secondary school as a music teacher, and I was like, I feel like I want teacher shoes. And then I bought those red shoes, and I would never use them at school. Of course, you don't use those shoes at school, but it turned out it became my concert shoes.
Very nice.
And I love them.
And I was told, I think, by Ben Verdery, that after that performance, you got a really rapturous applause and reception to that piece. It really went down very well. And similarly, I'm just going to embarrass you a little bit here, Nikki. Nikki won it's called the Elliott Fisk Prize. Is that correct? For the guitar department at Yale, and huge reception from the entire school because Nikki became really a figurehead in the school in terms of running concerts, being present, helping out the staff members. And, Ben, sort of circling back to how we met, Ben knew that I was looking for someone to come and help out and work at CGC. And I asked him for recommendations, and he just went, you have to meet Nikki. He said, quote unquote, she's an angel. And then as we started meeting up in New Haven, and I've started finding that all the faculty and the students, whenever we were up there, they were like, oh, hey, Nikki, hey, Nikki, hey, Nikki. And everyone kept telling me how fantastic you were. So it's in addition to your playing, you made a really big impact on that school, and you're continuing to make a big impact on our school. So it seems like a running theme. I wonder if that was the same in Bologna as well.
Thank you. Yes, it is a little bit embarrassing, of course, talk about that. I'm really happy that it worked well. It's and it was a great experience for me, and I'm happy that people also had a good experience working with me. And well, I have to say that part of it was like me needing jobs. Of course, coming to US and like needing something to do, but the other thing is that then you become passionate. You know, it's like you're doing something, but you don't just do it like for money or something. Like you want that to be good. When you start running concerts in such a good hall, like Morse recital hall, just kind of treat that hall in a more delicate and precious way. You want people to experience a good time. It's like so good to see all the process in the music business. Let's call it business, even if it's a cold word. But to see it behind the scene, to see what happens behind what makes it running so smooth and so good. So then you become just passionate about everything, the school and everything. Plus, I might have been also grateful because I was in such a good place and I could have such a good experience. And on the other side, yes, like I'm a little bit social, so I always like to have friends and people. But I also like to take advantage of the things that the school gives you. Like, for instance, not saying no because I don't have time. You want to do this project? Yes, let's do it. Saying yes, and then become passionate about what you said yes for.
Right, absolutely.
So that's kind of sweet.
One of the other aspects of your performance, I don't think we have a video of this, but you have the rare ability to play complex sort of classical type pieces and sing at the same time. You have a wonderful voice and you accompany your own playing. And the first time I saw this was at a really special moment. It was at the summer school, and Berta Rojas was one of our guests of honor. And you got the chance, one of the late night sessions, to play and sing with Berta through a number of songs from South America, I believe.
Yes, it was like magical. I don't know. Every time I think back about that, and I shouldn't say that, it's kind of embarrassing again, but I kind of cry every time I think about that because Berta Rojas is one of my idols. You know, like in terms of like guitarist, she's not just so good at what she does. Like she's so good musician, so good guitarist. So wonderful sound. It's just magical what she does with the guitar. But she's also a fantastic human being. And meeting her, like after growing up and like being listening to her, listening to recordings. Like I always loved her and Paquito de Rivera playing, and like meeting her was already a blessing. And then jamming with her was like, whoa. And actually, it all happened after I sang. I did that lecture on Violeta Parra, and I had a chance to sing my arrangement of Gracias a la Vida. And she heard that. And we were coming back from dinner, I believe, or from a night concert, and she asked me, do you know any other bolero? Bolero is the way, like some Latin American type of song. And then I started singing one in front of her, and she said, okay, great, we got it. And then when we were like just having a beer together, she told me, why didn't you bring your guitar? That started, and I still like, I'm really still moved by that moment. It was kind of special.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a video of you playing and singing, but we do have one last video that I wanted to share of the Vals Venezolano, and this actually ties in quite nicely with our previous conversation on the live stream about the Sesqui Altera, this 6/8/3/4 mix in music. So I just want to, I'm going to share this. This is, oh, and can you tell us a little bit about the setting of this video? It's not a concert hall. It's the most beautiful concert hall I've ever seen.
Yes, the problem was like learning how to breathe there because.
Where are you?
So long story short, my husband and I are a little bit travelers, and we ended up like living in different places and also living apart in different places. And the first year I was at Yale, he was actually in Ecuador working, in Quito, Ecuador. And I was visiting there, I believe spring break. I was there visiting Ecuador. And one morning we said, okay, let's take the guitar and let's go up to the Pichincha. Pichincha is a volcano in Quito, Ecuador. And it's like 15,000 feet. I actually learned that recently. I started doing the conversions and stuff. It's like more than 4,000 meters high. Like it's a normal Andean landscape, and so we went up to that mountain. It's beautiful, beautiful place, and it made a whole lot of sense. I'm playing a vals venezolano because actually Marco at that time was working with an association that was working with refugees in Quito, Ecuador, and most refugees were also coming from Venezuela. Venezuela had hard times in the last few years. So I thought about doing this little ritual and go up there and play a Venezuelan waltz in like to kind of give good luck or something. And also it was kind of a challenge. Like it was like, okay, let's go up on a mountain with lack of oxygen and let's try to play and let's see what happens. But it was actually very good. It was actually a nice experience.
All right, well, let's have a look. Hey, brava. Beautiful. The great is beautiful, a stunning location. A lot of people were saying awe-inspiring. Heidi said it was awe-inspiring. James Erickson's in the chat saying hello and said it's a beautiful, beautiful playing and scenery. So yeah, really wonderful. And hats off to Marco. Very good camera work there.
Yes. It was actually funny because we had to find the right setting. And then there was a guy that was playing, like in another video down there, there's a guy playing one of those Andean flutes on the background. So we have to hide from other people or other things going on and from the insects and stuff. It was fun, though. It was really fun.
Well, I would recommend everyone, if you can, what's your YouTube channel called? Is it just, what's it called?
Nicoletta Todesco. I think guitar, because actually there's a very famous Nicoletta Todesco, that's a psychologist, I believe, that's very famous. So every time I type that on Google, she appears before me. So I had to add guitar everywhere. So it's clear that it's me.
Well, I think everyone watching should go over to Nicoletta Todesco, Nicoletta Todesco, Todesco. Maybe subscribe to Nikki's channel. You get to listen to those wonderful videos, and we can boost your subscribers over there on YouTube.
Nice.
So tell us about your name, because I'm sure some people might be going, Todesco? Are you related to Mario Castelnuovo Todesco? So I'm sure that's the very first time you've ever heard that.
No, it's not the first time, and actually it's with O. But no, it's actually similar last name, of course. But it actually, my last name means German in dialect, in our dialect, and Tedesco means also German. So you never know. We think that always might be related to people coming from the north, to Italy, and they were called the German, and then maybe that became a last name. But it's a pretty popular last name on my region. So it happens that you find a lot of families with the same last name. So it was probably people from the north came down to the other side of the Alps and then settled. Something like that had to happen. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm not related, unfortunately, to Castelnuovo Tedesco, even though I would love to.
So tell me, Nikki, what are some of the big musical influences that you've had throughout your education, throughout your journey as a musician so far?
Again, I want to mention, well, I would like to mention all the like the important mentors I had, because of course part of it is like being able to find the right teachers. And I'm not saying teacher because there's right people for you in a different time of your life, you know. But one of the most impacting things that happened to me when I was like about 16 was actually to see the duo sad perform. I think I came back another person. That was such an important moment for me, and I was so inspired. I was like not believing what I saw, like the way they performed, the way they acted, the way they worked was so incredible. And I went back and I want to be them. Of course, you're not going to become them, but it's great when you can recall some moments in your life that really stick a mark on you, like gave you such an impact and influence. And then all my teachers were great and were caught in the right moment of the journey. Norma Lutzenberger was my first teacher. She was with me in a conservatory, and she was like an important figure because I was very young and she was guiding me somehow. But then Bruno Giuffredi was one of the best people ever in my life. He basically changed my technique from scratch after my diploma. You know, when you have that moment, you feel like you're an accomplished guitarist and you're not.
I have that moment daily, Nikki. No, but hold up there for a second. I think it's really interesting. So at what point in your studies did you have to go back and start from scratch, and what does that mean? How from scratch are we talking here?
Yeah, I think several times. If I look back, I now play completely different, and one important moment was right after the diploma. I was like 19. I was 20, and I got a diploma, and I had a big crisis. I was like, now what do I do? You know, because you're in conservatory, you do concerts, you do things, you do little activities all the time, and you feel like, okay, now what? And I had this big crisis, and I decided to go to study in Milan with Bruno Giuffredi and Dieci at their academy. I was going there like twice a month. And I came there with my crisis. I said to Giuffredi, this is where I am now. And I don't really know if I know how to study a piece. You know, when you have that in your mind is just freezing, and you think, oh, what should I do? And he said, don't worry. Okay, perfect. You play very good, but now we change everything. I loved when he said that. And with X-ray he did to me, like we went back even like to just open strings to work on some basics. Like we were like, okay, why don't you do these? And then we worked on pieces, of course, too. But we were doing some lessons where just back to nails, position of the heads. You know, you're coming from a different teacher and you go to another teacher, and things changed over the years. And so that was a very big impact, and now I feel it really how good it was for me to completely change. And then I think I changed again, but then for myself, like to find more my way of playing in these last 3 years, from Mexico to Yale too.
Did the reinvention of your technique help you as a teacher? Do you find that was helpful now to teach other people?
Absolutely. I think yes, because it makes you more aware. What I was lacking before was awareness. It was not that you cannot play. You know, you can play a piece. My diploma was like Rossiniana #1, 995 was a lot of big pieces, because that was the requirement. You couldn't like not do that. It was like just required. But it was big pieces, but you have the sensation that you don't really know what's going on. You just can't play, but you cannot think about what's happening all the time. And so I was lacking that awareness. So going back, you start building again the movement, and you're starting thinking, okay, this is happening because of that. And so that's exactly what you need to teach people. You don't need just, okay, these things happens because it's magic. These things happen because you're doing this and this and this, and your hand needs that, and maybe you need that, and you're a better listener and analyzing too. And so I think that really changes also your teacher perspective.
And then to finish off this journey, tell us about these last 3 years where you found your own way of playing. How did that happen?
Okay, that happened. Well, most of it was also thanks to band. And another thing, I was in Mexico, and then I started thinking what I want to do with the guitar. I was like touring with the flutist. I played with a flutist, a Mexican flutist. It was a really nice project we have, and we were playing. And then I happened to go to several festivals, and guitar festivals, and I started like gathering with friends there, and guitarists, very good guitarists. So you start having a real exchange, and so that kind of community thing that I was missing before, because that's a good thing about the Mexican guitar world, is that they are all friends. They are a big family. They go to places. They really root for each other, and I was missing that. And that made me really think, now I want to study even more. And a whole weird thing happened, and in a chamber music festival, some musicians from New York recommended me to apply for Yale, and I did. And then I met Ben, and what I liked about him is that he respects who you are as an artist, and you, instead of working on technique, now you start working on what you want to do, what you want to play, what you want to say. And that was really a thing that changed everything, because finally I understood you don't have to play things that you don't like to play. It's important to understand that passion is the way to go. So passion is also what I'm passionate and what I'm good at, and recognize what you're good at, and go for that instead of wanting to do everything is important. So that was the key for me, to see exactly who I am and recognize myself as an artist journey.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear that whole story. And I mean, it's a never-ending journey. It just keeps getting affected by interactions and experiences and people. And one of the next steps, the continuing step, is here at CGC. This is your first year anniversary at the
Yay!
Academy. And because we're at the end of the hour, I thought maybe we can open up some questions to people watching. So maybe questions about, well, anything you like really about for Nikki. But Martha already has a question. She asked, Nikki, do you approach your teaching differently when working with youthful learners or mature/older learners?
That's a very good question. Yes, the approach is different, but it's different from a little bit from a learning perspective, depending like the age. Of course, working with adults, it's all different. Like when you talk to an adult, it's a different type of communication. You can say things and articulate words, and they understand all the words. With kids, depending their age, it's a whole complete world. For instance, if you're working with 3 years old, they need repetition and physics, like being physically there. Like they need to repeat the same thing for 20 minutes at least. But same thing, I mean, even just clapping. Mm-hmm. That's very important. Repetition is what they live with. And then you have older kids. It's another thing. Even though, in terms of teaching basic aspects of the guitar, they are the same. The different thing is how you communicate that thing, and strategies that you have to find to make them understand those things. So I think it's mostly the communication is different age to age.
Jenny Popeye asked, she asked, "Where do you buy your shoes?" Joking, and then she asked, "Do you have a favorite guitar, and was it made for you?"
So my favorite guitar now is my new guitar, Leonardo de Gregorio, and that one was the guitar that was made for me finally. Because so far I had secondhand guitars most of the time, like the two Lovadinas that I played, because it was cheaper, of course. And then I bought a guitar because I wanted to change. I needed another type of instrument, and I fell in love with the one that I have now. But this luthier had 2 years waiting list, so I wanted to change it before coming to Yale, and I met another luthier that actually makes amazing guitars, and he had one ready. So it was not made for me, but I found it ready and I liked it, and I said, okay, that's gonna be it. And then this January I got the other guitar, and I'm actually very much in love with it.
Can you show us? I've never seen this guitar. I've heard many stories about this guitar, but
it's in the other room.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, another time then.
I'm really sorry about that. I should have had it in mind and had it here. But if people saw, like, on Facebook or Instagram, the last videos or last recordings I did, they were all with a new guitar that I'm becoming familiar with. What I'm in love is the timbre possibilities that you have. It's just powerful instruments, so good. And I'm still discovering it.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful opportunity to. Martin Dillon mentioned that in his interview, where he likes changing guitars because they open up new musical possibilities. So it's a really nice thing to explore. Carrie asked, she wants to repeat a question that she heard in another, was actually asked to me the other day. And what has been your most rewarding moment as a teacher?
Oh, nice. That's very nice. Well, I have to say that probably I know when it was, and it was back in Italy. And I know it might sound silly, but for me it was really important because I was working with a lot of kids. I had 20 that year. I was working with 20 different kids every week. It was a lot of them. We also had a beautiful little guitar orchestra with my friend Sylvia, that also is in the quintet. And it was a nice experience. And they were all in the elementary school. They were going to middle school, and 5 of them decided to apply for the musical middle school, and they got in. But the way that they decided they wanted to do that musical journey, and they wanted to apply, and they did their exam, and they all passed, I just started crying, and I was like, that's exactly what I want for them to be passionate and to decide that it's a good journey. Like, because maybe going to guitar lessons, it might not even be their choice. But when they really start thinking by themselves and decide, yes, I want to do that, that was like, okay, that's a kind of a winning moment.
Oh, that's a great moment. Yeah, beautiful story. All right, I'll pick one last question to wrap things up. Heidi asked, how do you balance physical fitness, strength, flexibility, endurance with the many hours necessary for sitting with the guitar?
That's a nice question, and I like you pointed this out. Well, I have to tell a secret. Like, for many years I danced. So I was constantly, like, there were like about 5 years where I was like going to dance like 4 to 5 days a week, and a night. So different kind of dancing. So physical aspect was never a problem because I wanted to nurture it. I needed it. And but then I stopped and I started doing, for instance, yoga and stuff. But if I have to, because if I don't take the time, and it happens, maybe 1 week I don't do that, I don't exercise, my back starts hurting, my body is not the same, and when I play, I have more possibilities of getting injured. So I really try to take the time to stretch, to do exercises, because I think it's not important, it's essential to also for our playing, because all our muscles and all our bones and everything in the body is a machine that has to work properly. So don't forget, never forget to exercise, or even just stretch. Just stretching every day, even like 20 minutes, that's it. That makes the difference, all the difference.
Nice. Well, thank you, Nikki. It was wonderful to hear more of your story.
Thank you. I hope that was like what people wanted to hear. I hope that it's a bit like giving a little bit of new ideas, new experiences. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed that.
Well, I feel we've only touched on many different things we could talk about and part of your story, but it's just nice to hear a bit of your background. I think it'd be really nice for some people in the academy, and even on YouTube, is having seen you in the chat over the last weeks and months, just to know who you are. So yeah, thank you. I think it was a wonderful opportunity to get to know you better. And you'll be seeing people on Sunday, is that right? With is that the wrap-up session for the duets?
Yes, I can't wait for it. So we are receiving now the last duets, like the last product of the month, and they are already exciting. So we will do a big kind of celebration, and we'll try to listen through most of them or part of them, like just part for each duo. But I think it will be a great moment.
Yeah, I need to be there. I want to be there, so I should come in on Sunday.
Yes. I was also thinking, I also thought to say to people that there's a mandatory a glass of wine
Perfect.
for that moment, because it's also celebration.
Yes, fantastic.
So you're more than welcome.
Thank
Please.
you. Thank you. Great. Well, everyone saying thank you to you, and they enjoyed hearing your story. James said it was wonderful and inspiring. Jenny was saying, thanks, Nikki. Definitely good to hear a little of your musical and personal journey. Yeah, so everyone's really appreciative of your time and sharing some of your story. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yay!
Thank
you for having me here, and thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for. I suppose I've been thinking about maybe pressing the pause button, because the world is potentially opening back up again, but I don't know. I sometimes feel like I'm running out of things to share. I'm so glad you came on. It gave me a really nice opportunity just to let you speak. But yeah, I'm wondering if there's going to be an uproar about pressing. I don't know. I know some people have been really enjoying these sessions, and I appreciate them coming in week to week. But I don't know. Maybe people can let us know via email whether they want to keep going with these live sessions. But thank you, Nikki. We'll wrap it up there, and I'll see you very soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, Nikki.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.